Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambeau channel. Observing the SEC versus Ripple case, it's kind of like watching a car crash in slow motion. Like, you know this really isn't going well for the SEC, but you just can't look away. And actually, I don't want to. I kind of enjoy seeing how poorly everything is going for the SEC. Because let's be real here. If you're an unbiased individual, just you're an outside observer, looking at the facts of the case to the degree that they're available publicly to this point, it's very clear, is it not? It's very clear that the SEC is having a bad time. And it's also a scientific fact that they are baby back bitches. And so this is you know, they brought this on themselves. I don't have sympathy for them. They are baby back bitches. And they really have bit off more than they could chew, and it's gonna hurt their pride. But you know what? They're gonna keep on going on being those baby back bitches that they are. I don't think they're gonna learn anything from this. I just think that the people that are making decisions to rule by enforcement rather than by providing legal clarity, like, these are people, they're destructive. Like, these are not good people, but they're out there and they're in positions of power, and we have to deal with this crap. But at this point, I could not be more optimistic. And in fact, it does look like the SEC is giving up on beating Ripple's fair notice defense. So says a very popular attorney within the XRP community you may be aware of. None other than attorney Jeremy Hogan. And so I want to talk about an article that discussed some of what Jeremy Hogan's been saying recently. And it's part of what I've been talking about too, including comments from BitBoy Crypto, who is running the, I believe, second largest cryptocurrency YouTube channel on the planet, and props to him. It's amazing. I think he's got like over 1.2 million subscribers at this point. But he has put out a prediction that you're going to see complete settlement of this case no later than mid-September. Well, we're at the tail end of August as I'm recording this here, so as much as I'd love that, damn, it doesn't leave much time here. So anyway, I'm going to run through this piece, share some thoughts of mine along the way, but before going further, I do want to be clear that I do not have a legal or financial background of any kind. I am not offering legal or financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos all up on the internet, but just as a fun hobby, so that's all that's going on here. And so this piece from Crypto Newsflash is titled SEC vs. Ripple, Why August 31st Holds the Key, the SEC's Queen's Gambit and a Damning Email. Ripple Labs Inc.'s legal battle with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission seems to evolve with every motion filed, with each faction developing a new attack or defense angle. Even as the battle seems to intensify, there are predictions that a settlement could happen in a few weeks' time. But according to one expert, everything relies on the August 31st hearing. For months now, Ripple and the SEC have been squaring off in regards to the SEC's internal documents. These could prove whether the SEC considered XRP a security in its inner circle or whether it just decided to sue Ripple out of the blue. And so let me pause here for a moment. Like, why do you think, yes, you listening to this, go ahead and drop a comment below. I would love to hear what you think. I'll tell you what I think right now, but why is it the case that the SEC is fighting so hard to have what they would claim would just be, other than the privilege of it, just completely innocent communication amongst their staff internally about the exactly how XRP or Bitcoin, Ethereum, pick your crypto, how it's all positioned. Well, if they're so confident that nobody in their damn entity has ever thought that, like, or had uncertainty about, the legal status of XRP, what is it actually over, the last decade, almost decade that XRP's been around now. Well, why wouldn't you just let that out in the open? In fact, if anything, that would prove your position, would it not? Think about this. If you're talking about, like, no, we are confident, we've had the same position the whole time, and on top of us having the same position the whole time that XRP, the way Ripple's selling it, it's being sold as an unregistered security. Ripple knew that, Brad Garlinghouse knew that, Chris Larson knew that. That's what they're saying right here. So, if anything, if you divulge all of these documents, then would that not prove the SEC's position? Like, yeah, see, there's nothing here. But it wouldn't prove their position, would it, right? Isn't that the suspicion that we all have? Like if this actually gets out into the wild, it's going to show that they're a bunch of two-faced baby-back biatchas. Yeah, I think that they are. I think that's exactly what that would prove. The piece continues. While the judge did rule in favor of Ripple, the SEC has fought against having to surrender its documents. It cited the deliberative process privilege, or DPP for short, which protects internal government processes from normal disclosure in civil litigations. Ripple is aware that laying its hands on these documents could make or break its case. And now, come August 31st, the court will hold a hearing on this privilege dispute in what could drag the SEC's view on Ether to the center of the lawsuit. And so in his latest video, attorney Jeremy Hogan observed the following. This is a quote. In other words, this upcoming hearing is very important because Ripple could potentially get some documents that could really help it advance its position that XRP is like Ether. And in 2018, the SEC said Ether is not a security, and therefore XRP is not a security. Yes, exactly. And that's what I've been saying for the longest damn time. Like after this lawsuit happened, I went and read the full William Hinman speech from I believe it was June 14th, 2018, and I already read parts of it because I was aware of that news back in the day, of course, as it was unfolding. But after the lawsuit, I went back and read it, and as I did, I started to get a little bit upset, a little smidge of anger coming out, because I recognized like so many of the things that William Hinman was declaring made Ether not a security absolutely applied to XRP, but here you had Ripple getting sued for selling XRP. Now, the Ethereum Foundation had sold a crazy amount of Ethereum, or Ether, but they didn't go after them. And so already, it was so clear from the get-go, this is not right, this is not justice. Anyway, the piece continues. This will be the focus of the next 2 months of discovery, which is the expert discovery phase. In this phase, people who are vastly knowledgeable about securities and cryptocurrencies will give their views to the court. And then there's this subheading. The SEC's Queen's Gambit, that backfired. From the very beginning, Ripple has been arguing that the SEC didn't give it fair notice that it was violating securities laws. For some time, the SEC focused on discrediting this defense. However, at some stage, it decided to engage in a gambit, sacrifice its strong position on this defense in the hopes that it can pin down Ripple elsewhere. Hogan states, quote, "The SEC has deployed a Queen's Gambit in this litigation, sacrificing its position on the fair notice defense in order to solidify its central position that XRP was sold as a security," end quote. And so look, this is something that I've been saying for the longest damn time too, after getting insight from multiple attorneys within the XRP community, which is that this fair notice defense has some serious teeth, and the SEC should be afraid of it, even though they're verbally stating that, no, this is nonsense, of course it shouldn't stand, this and that. I've never believed that they believe that. I believed that they're a bunch of baby-back bitches, and that they're saying stuff that they don't believe to be true. Again, there's science behind that, verifiably provable, right? But it's just because I don't think these people are stupid. I don't. I think that they're intelligent people. They're just not good, and they're just bad people, and they're just gonna argue whatever the hell they have to try and win. That's exactly what's going on here, and it's repulsive because I look at all of the people that have been harmed, financially harmed, and in some cases people lost basically their entire net worth. You know, and I understand, had you not panic sold the XRP, you wouldn't have, but you don't know in the moment. You were forced into a position where it looks like maybe XRP is actually going away. I get the fear. And that's why the SEC, the people at the SEC that caused all of this fear, they're the problems. They're the ones that did not protect investors. They're the ones that attacked investors. That's exactly what has happened here. That's my position on this here. And so, anyway, piece continues. It all started when Ripple began attacking the SEC stand on Ether. The regulator tried to play this away, but the judge took Ripple's side. The SEC then claimed that Bill Hinman, its former director, was giving his own personal views when he claimed Ether wasn't a security, and here's a quote. And thus the gambit was set in motion, and this was it. The SEC was going to admit, to some extent, that there was confusion in the marketplace about digital securities in exchange for strengthening its position that XRP was a security. And then the piece continues. The SEC was caught in a tricky situation. Should it admit that Hinman's views were its official position? It risked Ripple proving that XRP was just like Ether and thus not a security. On the other hand, should it deny Hinman's sentiments as its official stand, which it did, it risks Ripple claiming that there was no regulatory clarity at the time. And so look, this is the SEC caught in quite the pickle, which they created themselves. They put themselves in this position. Freaking asshats. That's exactly what has happened here. And then this part, I don't want to read through this part, but I'll highlight. I've actually talked about this portion on my channel before, but they have this little subheading, more bizarre things from the SEC. And they end up highlighting this tweet from Hester Peirce, who I'm a fan of, by the way. This is from June 15th, 2018, the day after Hinman's speech. And she shared the link to William Hinman's speech and stated the following. When Howie met Gary, because that's the title of it, when Howie met Gary, the title of the speech, a positive step in the SEC's relationship with innovation. So that's one of 5 SEC commissioners clearly indicating that this is something that the SEC itself, at least her as a high-ranking individual, thinks was providing market clarity. So I know, it's all ridiculous. And again, I'm a fan of Hester. This is not me digging on her. And she can always say her opinion anyway. Apparently, anything that no matter how high-ranking any SEC official says, it's never the official position of the SEC. No. It's just a personal opinion. In fact, if the SEC could have it this way, the SEC would have no official positions on anything because reasons. That's exactly what's going on here. Now, on the topic of BitBoy Crypto's comments, first of all, I love diversity of thought. I think that various opinions on any crypto-related topic, specifically with XRP in this case, I think it's interesting, you know. There is such a thing as going way too far into left field and having weird fantasyland conspiracy theory nonsense thoughts, but that's not what was happening here. The BitBoy Crypto has an opinion that I think is rather bold to take, because what he stated publicly in a recent live stream is that he does believe that the SEC versus Ripple case is going to be settled by roughly mid-September. And again, you're talking about a couple weeks or so. Now, that's a bold position. I would love for him to be right, and it's not impossible. I will say that it's not impossible for it to happen, but my take on this ended up being the same as Jeremy Hogan's, attorney Jeremy Hogan, which is simply that, and he acknowledges too, like, it's not impossible for that to happen. Yeah, you could have a settlement at any time out of the blue. We don't know all the inner workings of what's going back and the communication between the SEC and Ripple. Of course, fine. Possible. But is it probable? I don't think it's probable. Possible, yes. Probable, no. It is for one simple reason that it is simply, until you know what ammo the other side has, it doesn't make sense to really concede much of anything, does it? And so what I'm talking about here is until the discovery process has ended, and you know what arguments each side can make, why would it make sense to give up anything? Why would you acquiesce? At that point, that's the timing doesn't make sense. And so, yes, it could happen. If things are so horrific for the SEC, maybe it does. I don't think that's probable at all. I don't. And so and I hope he's right. And I love diversity of thought. So this is not some sort of harsh critique against BitBoy Crypto or anything like that. I'm just sharing with you he shared his honest take on it, and now I'm sharing mine. I would love for him to be right. I love that he's talking about this stuff. I'm not convinced that's the most probable outcome here, though. So you can tell me what you think. And look, settlement, reasonable chance that that's what's going to happen, rather than seeing this case fully adjudicated, which I'd be perfectly fine with, by the way. But we're just gonna I think we're gonna have to wait a little bit longer to find out. So you guys let me know what you think is most likely. I love talking about this stuff here, obviously. So it's always interesting to get other people's takes and why their brains going in various directions on what they think is most likely or not likely to occur. But that's what I got for you. But I'll go ahead and wrap up here. I am not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.